Welcome to the Wargamer and another Rune Wars painting tutorial. In this video I'll be showing you how you can paint the Latari Elves using the Army Painter range of paints to do so. Before we can begin painting our miniature, we first of all need to prime it, and this is to ensure that the later layers of paint will adhere to the miniature correctly. Now we can save ourselves a lot of time by using the Army Painter's Fur Brown spray primer for this and covering the entirety of the miniature, which gives us the base colour for the armour. The first paint that I'll be applying to this miniature will be Army Green, and I'll be using this to paint the green areas of cloth. Now whenever you apply a base coat to your miniatures, it's highly recommended that you slightly water down that paint. Roughly 2 parts paint to 1 part water should suffice, and then if you apply a single coat, allow that to dry thoroughly and then apply a second coat over the top. You will not only get the best coverage possible, but you will also avoid the potential of obscuring any details by applying the paint too thickly. With all of the green cloth areas base coated, we now want to apply a second layer, but this time I want to use a lighter paint, so I'm going to be using Goblin Green for this. Now instead of using this as a base coat, I'll instead be applying this as a layer. So what you want to do is you want to paint over the green areas that we've already painted, but leave the darker Army Green visible in those recesses. This will create the illusion of shading in those recesses, which will really help to enhance the detail that we have on this miniature. Once again, slightly watering down your paint will really help at this stage. With our green areas completed, we can now start working on some of the darker brown areas on this miniature. This includes some of the various leather straps and also any dark hair that you may want to paint on your miniature. And we're going to be base coating all these areas using oak brown. The next paint that I'll be using on this miniature is Monster Brown, and I'll be using this in 2 ways. First of all, I'll be base coating some of the wooden areas and also the armour detail as well, so this includes the bow and also some of the stylings and detail that we have on the front of the armour. And secondly, I'll also be using this as a highlight. Now with this paint, we want to highlight the edges of the areas that we painted with oak brown in the previous step. Now to highlight, you want to take a thin brush with just a small amount of paint on the tip of that brush and lightly drag it along those edges of the areas that we've already painted. This highlight will help to create the effect that light is bouncing off these hard corners and really helps to enhance the level of detail that we have on the model. In this next step, I'll be using Skeleton Bone in much the same way as I applied the Monster Brown previously. We want to use it first of all as a base coat for the fur trim that we have across this miniature, but also as an edge highlight for the areas that we painted with Monster Brown in the previous step. The next step in painting our Latari Elf is to apply a wash of soft toning across all of the areas of brown on this miniature. So basically everywhere apart from the Army Green areas that we painted at the beginning of this video, and also the face that we haven't yet tackled. The reason for applying this wash is it will flow into those recesses, helping to create shading and ultimately improving the level of detail that we have on the model. Now, much like the paints that we use to base coat this miniature, we do want to slightly water down the soft toning, as it may be a little bit too strong and overpowering if we apply it straight out of the pot. So this time you want to create a mixture of roughly 1 part wash to 1 part water before applying it to your model. With our wash of soft toning completed, I'll now be applying an edge highlight of Fire Lizard to all of the fur brown armor panels on this model. The final area left to paint on this model is the skin, and we want to start off by applying a base coat of Elven Flesh. To improve the definition of the facial features on this miniature, I'll now be applying some flesh wash over the skin. To further enhance the detail that we have in the facial features, I'll now be applying a fine edge highlight of Skeleton Bone and picking out some more prominent features such as the brow, the nose, the lips and also the cheekbones. And here we have the completed miniature. Now all of the paints that I've used in this video can be found in the Army Painter's Latari Elf paint set, and I've included a full list of them in the description below as well. Now if you enjoyed this video, please do let me know in the comments below, and also make sure you subscribe to be kept up to date with all of my future videos. And finally, I just want to say a huge thank you to my Patreon supporters. It's you guys who make these videos possible, so big thank you for your continued support. And if you're interested in supporting me as well, you can find a link to my Patreon page in the description below, and from there you can donate to me from as little as $1 a month, which just really helps me in producing these tutorials. And so all that's left to say is thanks for watching and goodbye.